In the depths of the 2008 global financial crisis, a mysterious figure known only by the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto conjured up a revolutionary idea. From the shadows of the dark web, a digital currency was born: Bitcoin. With a white paper and a cryptic message, Nakamoto unleashed a force that would shake the foundations of the financial world. What followed was a wild ride of hacking, heists, and high-stakes drama as a cast of characters from cypherpunks to speculators battled for control of the decentralized dream. Welcome to the insane world of Bitcoin, where the very fabric of money itself is being rewritten before our very eyes. What is money? Money is a medium of exchange. In other words, a system that allows us to trade goods and services with each other. However, in the olden days, the world was without money. People traded goods and services directly. This was called bartering. The limitation was that you had to find someone who had what you wanted and was willing to trade for it. This was known as the coincidence of wants. As societies grew and trade increased, people began to look for a more efficient way to exchange value. They turned to valuable items like gold, silver, and copper, which were referred to as commodity-based currencies. These currencies were standardized, making trade easier and more widespread. But commodity-based currency had its limitations. They were heavy, difficult to transport, and could be stolen or lost. So governments began to issue paper money backed by gold. You could exchange this paper money for the physical gold that the country held in its reserves. This system was known as the gold standard. However, in 1971, the gold standard was removed to help the economy grow. The paper money was now backed up by our belief in its value. This was the dawn of fiat currencies. Fiat currencies were made flexible and easier to use than the gold standard. They allowed the government to control the money supply and stabilize the economy. However, government decisions could lead to financial crises, just like the 2008 financial crisis. The US government wanted to encourage home ownership and economic growth. To achieve this, they relaxed regulations on banks and financial institutions, kept interest rates low, encouraged excessive borrowing, and failed to adequately regulate investment banks and rating agencies. This created a perfect storm. Banks and financial institutions took on too much risk, and housing prices skyrocketed. When the housing bubble finally burst, the entire financial system began to collapse. People lost their homes, jobs, and savings. The banks stopped lending to each other, and the stock market plummeted, wiping out trillions of dollars in value. People lost trust in financial institutions and started withdrawing their money from banks until banks had no money to pay up. One by one, banks filed for bankruptcy, threatening to take the entire economy down with them. The government stepped in to prevent a complete meltdown. But the solution was bitter. Tax-paying citizens had to bail out the very banks that had caused the crisis. It was like asking the victims to rescue the robbers. Meanwhile, an anonymous individual or group of people with the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto published a white paper titled Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. A peer-to-peer version of electronic cash that would allow online payments to be sent directly from one party to another without going through a financial institution. This quote here is the very first statement made by Satoshi Nakamoto in a mysterious paper which was subsequently posted to a cryptography mailing list on October 31, 2008. Little did the world know that this mysterious paper, seemingly mild at first glance, would soon raise an intriguing question. Could Bitcoin be the key to breaking free from the constraints of traditional financial institutions and government control over our monetary system? Imagine you and your friends are playing a game where you trade marbles as a form of currency. You all have a small notebook to keep track of how many marbles each person has, gives, and receives. Whenever someone gives or receives marbles, they write it down in that notebook. Now imagine you want to buy a candy bar from one of your friends who is selling at 5 marbles per candy bar. You give your friend the marble, and both of you write down the transaction in your notebook. As more people join in the game and more transactions happen, everyone keeps updating their notebooks. Sometimes you might ask other friends to check their notebooks to make sure your records match so everyone has the same information. Bitcoin works similarly, but instead of marble, it's a digital currency. And instead of notebooks, they share a digital ledger called blockchain. Everyone in the network can see this ledger and verify transactions, making it a transparent and secure way to exchange value over time. Bitcoin is an evolution from various digital currencies, transformed into the decentralized dream we have today, disrupting traditional financial systems and empowering individuals across the globe. But how did a simple idea transform into a force that challenged the very foundations of the financial world? In the year 1982, a student studying computer science at the University of California, Berkeley, at the doctoral level, named David Lee Chaum, released a thesis titled "Computer Systems Established, Maintained, and Trusted by Mutually Suspicious Groups." This paper laid the groundwork for blockchain technology and digital currency as we know it today. In this thesis, he envisioned a system whereby individuals could transact directly with one another without relying on any centralized authority or intermediaries. David later went on to create the first ever digital currency in 1983, which used blind signatures. So what exactly are blind signatures? Blind signatures are a form of digital signature in which the content of a message is disguised before it is signed. Think of it like a game where you ask a friend to sign a piece of paper without showing the contents of the paper. Your friend trusts you and then signs the paper anyway. After eventually signing it, you reveal the content to him and your friend is surprised to see what he had agreed to. In the context of digital currencies like eCash, the blind signature allows users to make transactions without revealing the identities or the details of the transaction to the signing authority or anyone else. This ensures privacy and anonymity. However, eCash didn't last for long due to its low adoption by banks because in this system, the banks verified the transactions but blindly, without having full information and control over their consumers' cash. Also, consumers prefer online card payment platforms like Visa to eCash. They didn't see the need for privacy in transacting. Although David did receive offers worth over $100 million from different companies like Microsoft and Netscape, he rejected all. He eventually filed for bankruptcy in 1999, and in the early quarters of 2000, eCash Technologies was sold to a search engine firm called InfoSpace. Other digital currencies started to evolve, and there was one, eGold. Founded by an oncologist Douglas Jackson and attorney Barry Downey in the year 1996, just a few years before the fall of eCash. eGold was a digital currency that operated by the Gold and Silver Reserves Inc., which allowed users to make payments called spends in grams of gold, silver, or precious metals. It was basically a website that sold digital portions of gold. Users could open an account and deposit funds in various currencies, which were then converted to eGold, representing a specific weight of gold. eGold was an early attempt at creating a digital currency backed by a tangible asset, gold. However, it faced several legal issues, including money laundering and operating without a proper license as it was a US company. In the United States, as well as in many other jurisdictions, operating a digital currency platform like eGold typically requires a money services business (MSB) license or similar regulatory approval. This license ensures that the platform complies with anti-money laundering (AML) and Know Your Customer (KYC) regulations, while also providing consumer protection measures. The lack of a proper money transmitter license led to significant legal trouble for eGold. The founder's arrest on money laundering charges proved to be the final straw, ultimately leading to eGold's eventual shutdown. Two years after the inception of eGold, another idea of a digital currency emerged, B-Money. However, B-Money was different from its predecessors in a significant way. It introduced the innovative concept of decentralization. Earlier pioneers of digital currency strived to create a decentralized system that would free users from the shackles of traditional banking institutions. However, despite their best efforts, early digital currencies faced a tragic demise due to the burdensome restrictions and regulations imposed by banks that serve as intermediaries for transaction verification. Just when all seemed lost, a visionary cryptographer and cypherpunk named Wei Dai emerged, wielding a powerful new tool: proof of work. Proof of work is a consensus mechanism used in blockchain networks to secure and validate transactions. It requires miners to solve complex mathematical puzzles, demonstrating their computational power and work to validate transactions. This concept was initially called proof of processing time, proposed by Cynthia Dwork and Moni Naor in a 1992 paper titled Pricing via Processing or Combating Junk Mail. Although B-Money was never implemented due to a lack of detailed specifications and technology, its ideas echoed into the future. About a decade later, Bitcoin emerged using a similar proof-of-work system. Interestingly, Wei Dai's B-Money proposal also contained the seeds of another revolutionary idea: proof of stake. In a section of his paper, Dai suggested a system where participants would deposit a certain amount of money. This deposit would be used to reward honest transactions and punish dishonest ones. Around the same time as the inception of B-Money, another visionary, Nick Szabo, proposed BitGold. Unlike B-Money, BitGold was a detailed proposal that focused on generating value through proof of work and maintaining a decentralized registry of ownership and proof chains. However, it was not implemented either due to a lack of technological tools at the time. Many speculate that Nick Szabo might be Satoshi Nakamoto, but he has consistently denied this. Bitcoin incorporated ideas from its predecessors and learned from their mistakes. eCash's mistake was relying on banks to verify transactions using blind signatures. eGold's errors included being a centralized company, whereas Bitcoin is a decentralized system. Additionally, eGold was backed by gold and required users to undergo Know Your Customer (KYC) checks. Dai's B-Money had an undeveloped transaction verification mechanism and lacked a controlled timing mechanism as it relied on processing time. Furthermore, BitGold had an unlimited supply and was designed solely as a store of value. By learning from these mistakes, Bitcoin was able to develop a secure, decentralized, and trustless system. Satoshi Nakamoto also combined concepts from B-Money's proof-of-work model and Adam Back's Hashcash to create Bitcoin. Hashcash was initially proposed to prevent email spam by requiring senders to perform a small amount of computational work. Satoshi adopted a specific and practical proof-of-work mechanism to secure the Bitcoin network, validate transactions, and control the issuance of new currency. In Bitcoin, miners solve cryptographic puzzles by attempting to find a nonce that, combined with the current block's contents, including the previous block's hash and transaction hashes, results in a hash value that meets a specific difficulty target. This target typically specifies that the resulting hash, when computed using the SHA-256 algorithm, must begin with a specific number of leading zeros. This mechanism secures the network, prevents double spending, and determines how new bitcoins are minted. Bitcoin also employs a dynamic difficulty adjustment for its proof of work, similar to the adjustable difficulty in Hashcash, ensuring consistent block times regardless of the network's total computational power. In essence, participants, miners, compete to solve a complex cryptographic puzzle. The first to solve the puzzle gets to add a new block to the blockchain and is rewarded with newly minted bitcoins plus transaction fees. Bitcoin's supply is capped at 21 million coins, with the final Bitcoin expected to be mined around 2140. To ensure gradual distribution, Bitcoin block rewards halve approximately every 4 years. The reward started at 50 Bitcoins per block in 2009, and after the fourth halving in 2024, it has dropped to 3.125 Bitcoins per block. Bitcoin is divisible down to 8 decimal places, with the smallest unit called a Satoshi, ensuring it remains practical for all sizes of transactions. In 2022, Casey Rodamor introduced Ordinals theory, which allowed individual Satoshis to carry unique arbitrary content. This innovation enabled the creation of Bitcoin-nature digital artifacts akin to NFTs that can be stored and transferred within the Bitcoin blockchain. The advent of Ordinals sparked debates in the Bitcoin community. Bitcoin maxis feared that Ordinals would clog the network and drive up the transaction fees, although Casey's introduction of recursive inscriptions helped mitigate these concerns. Supporters of Ordinals argued that they enhanced Bitcoin's value and expanded the ecosystem. Ordinals theory catalyzed further innovations like Bitmap, digital matter theory, DMT, BRC20 tokens, and runes. These developments contributed to a vibrant crypto culture where certain Satoshis carry significant cultural and historical value. For example, the infamous 10K pizza transaction, where the programmer Laszlo Hanyecz paid 10,000 bitcoins for 2 pizzas in 2010, became a legendary moment in crypto history. Similarly, the first ever Satoshi mined by Satoshi Nakamoto himself is considered rare and highly valuable. Bitcoin's periodic events such as halving, unique transactions, and cultural milestones create a system of rarity and value that fuels the crypto community's passion. Satoshi Nakamoto originally envisioned Bitcoin as a transactional currency, yet over time it has evolved into a more successful store of value and a platform for large-scale transactions. The Bitcoin block wars marked a pivotal debate on how to scale Bitcoin to accommodate more transactions. One faction advocated for increasing the block size to enable more transactions per block, which eventually led to the creation of Bitcoin Cash. the opposing side championed second-layer solutions like the Lightning Network and implemented segregated witness (SegWit) to optimize block space usage. This debate culminated in a split, with Bitcoin adhering to its original vision while incorporating enhancements like SegWit, which improved transaction efficiency and paved the way for Layer 2 solutions. Meanwhile, Bitcoin Cash pursued larger block sizes to facilitate faster on-chain transactions. Bitcoin's journey from an obscure white paper to a global phenomenon is a testament to the power of innovation and decentralized finance. From its humble beginnings to its current status as a store of value and medium of exchange, Bitcoin has disrupted traditional notions of money and sparked a new era of financial freedom. As we look to the future, it's clear that Bitcoin's impact will only continue to grow. Whether you're a seasoned investor or just starting to explore the world of cryptocurrencies, one thing is certain: Bitcoin's history is only the beginning of a revolutionary new chapter in the story of money. Do you know that some cryptocurrencies are built on predatory systems that prey on the vulnerable and psychological manipulation that exploits the very fabric of human psychology? A perfect example of such cryptocurrency is Notcoin. Click the thumbnail here to dive into the dark side of Notcoin. I'll see you there in a second. Stay great, magnates.